Hi all, it's Rambler here with another rambling about the video game world, or actually now, for this particular video, rambling about the internet, because I've just been made aware by one of my YouTube channels that I watch, Alpha Omega Sin, that Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn, who, if you don't know, are two ladies who have been campaigning for women to be better represented in society in terms of the internet, in terms of the video game world, and overall just being represented as equal to men, but also to not be belittled and not be insulted or threatened or what have you by men or women or whoever. In other words, they're feminists. They really do fight for women's rights and what have you. Well, at least that's what they say. They have apparently been and sent and delivered a report and spoken to a lot of UN, United Nations representatives, about cyber violence against women, I believe it was called. And that is quite interesting. And I want to talk about it because... here we go, this is the full title. Cyber Violence Against Women and Girls, a Global Wake-Up Call. As far as I'm aware, what they've done, Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn, is they've gone to the UN, they have presented this report that they've either written together or got people to write for them or wrote in a collaborative way, I don't know, about how they believe that the internet, and when I say the internet, I mean social media, media in general, YouTube, gaming, all the stuff, anything that requires the internet to use and or communicate with, has become a place where cyberbullying, which is bullying or abuse or verbal assault or whatever, anything malicious over the internet towards someone also on the internet, has risen against women, and that it needs to be stopped. And that the internet needs to be regulated somewhat so that if there are incidents of cyberbullying going on, so verbal abuse or any form of abuse, really, I say verbal abuse, any form of abuse where the internet is used to deliver it towards women and girls as well, should be censored or should be monitored and got rid of or taken down. Because the internet needs to be a place where women can feel safe, secure, and able to express their opinions or express themselves in however way they choose to without having any form of abuse against them. Examples were being called a liar, being called a cheater, just having lots of abuse thrown in terms of insults, death threats, sexual assault threats, that kind of thing. And I say that because anything can be considered abuse by anyone depending on how you interpret it. So it's open to interpretation, of course. So I'll just go with abuse against women. That needs to stop, and it needs to be censored, and it needs to be got rid of to make the internet a safer place for women. But as a result of that, and I don't know if they made a speech or not. I think they did talk to the UN representatives about this. Both Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian. Because of this now, there is a lot of people out there on the internet who are now claiming that Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn are basically after internet censorship in the developed world. So that essentially you cannot express disagreements, express abuse or insults or anything of that sort of matter, anything of that form towards women if you don't like their opinion or agree with what they say. If you don't, basically. So disagree, I should have said. And people are claiming now on the internet, including Alpha Omega Sin, who I do respect very much, and quite possibly as well Richard Review Tech USA. I think he has actually made a video on that. That this is a step towards internet censorship in the developed world. This isn't just going to be about protecting women. This is going to be about making sure that people who do disagree with other people's opinions, specifically women in their case, but you could definitely broaden that to men and women, or any being that uses the internet, cannot express disagreements, abuse, assault, anything like that. Any sort of negative emotion that might put the recipient of that negative abuse into a state of victimization or insecurity, and or make them feel that, you know, they're being belittled or stepped on or threatened in terms of their life or their very health and being. That's all got to go. And some people are claiming that this is actually really basically saying to the UN, please censor the internet. Please censor it so that nothing bad can be said against women. And I wanted to say something on this because this is a very personal topic of mine, in that I do have a huge passion about freedom. I do believe we should live in a free world, being able to do whatever you want to do, as long as you are prepared to accept any consequences that come from it. Well, I say accept. As long as you are aware, I guess, of the consequences. Because whatever you do in life, be it good or bad, or in the middle, neutral, to anyone, male, female, whatever, there's going to be consequences. Either something good, something bad, or just nothing at all. And I basically believe in that kind of world to exist. I want a free world to exist because I do believe, as human beings, as creatures of the universe and of the earth, who are quite intellectual. I won't say we're the most intellectual, but I would say we're quite intellectual, and, you know, the dominant species on the planet, or at least one of the dominant species on the planet, if you want to go into like bacteria level or underwater creatures or whatever, or parasites, that kind of thing. We do need to express ourselves. And as human beings, we are quite complex. Probably one of the most complex beings out on planet Earth, maybe even in the universe, until other life forms come into contact with us, or we discover them. And we can't just express ourselves by being positive all the time. We just can't. I don't think anybody on this planet, as a human being, both present, in the past, has ever been positive 100% of their lives, has ever been constructive about absolutely everything, has ever agreed with absolutely everything, because we're not built to do that. We weren't born to do that. We're not made to do that. We're not created to do that. Whatever your belief on how we, as a species, as an animal, as an organism, came about, we don't do that. In fact, we're actually very negatively orientated. We tend to focus more on negatives than we do positives. We do focus on positives and can experience positive feelings, but we predominantly, on average, there are some exceptions. There are some people out there who are most likely to receive positive stuff and react to them better than negative. Not saying that they won't be offended by anything negative, but they tend to take on positives first. The positive consequences or reactions that they come across or have afflicted on them, they will pick up first before the negatives. But for the most part, humans tend to be negative orientated. We tend to pick on negatives much easier than the positives, and usually first before the positives. And the reason why, or one of the main reasons why, is because we're biologically made that way. It's a defense mechanism. To pick up on something negative, we do it first because it's a threat against us. It's a threat against our existence. It's a threat against our integrity. It's a threat against our belief. It's a threat against our opinions, whatever. And we will pick up on that because we have a self-defense mechanism. We need to defend ourselves from it because it could possibly harm us, both mentally, physically, or, well, both. And I can see why Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn want this stamped out for females, because I'm inclined to agree. I don't have any evidence to say otherwise, so I'm more inclined to sort of stay in the middle, but I'm more inclined to agree that females in general suffer more abuse on the internet than males, but I don't have any hardline evidence on that, and a lot of males do suffer similar abuse that Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn have been through themselves and are trying to fight against, trying to get rid of. I believe a lot of males have as well. It might even be it's a 50-50 split. I don't know. I don't think anybody truly knows. What we do know is that abuse on the internet is isn't everyone's problem. Everybody has a problem with it. Actually, no, I won't say that. That's not right. But it's everyone's problem because it affects everyone. Not that one insult on the internet will make everybody feel the same way. No. But basically, males, females, transgenders, whoever, can feel victimized, threatened and what have you by things said on the internet, abuse on the internet given to them. And it's not strictly females that feel it or suffer it. You know, we all do. And this whole idea that some people are saying about this is a step towards internet censorship because they just want everything to be monitored. They want things that are considered abuse by telephone companies, internet companies, or companies or people who handle internet data, be it monitoring or just allowing it to flow, that kind of thing. They want them to basically surveillance everything that goes through the internet, through their passageways, through their cables or servers or whatever, or their websites or what have you, and censor out any abuse against women. But also, it could be considered possibly, or the UN could take this and then apply it to everything. And I do incline to agree with Alpha Omega Sin, Richard Review Tech USA, and anyone who has the opinion that this is an active, I won't say protest against the internet, but an active shout out, an active demand to censor the internet against negative assault or negative whatever. And I don't believe in that. I don't believe that it should be censored. And I don't believe that it should be deleted, surveillanced and deleted over anything. No, I don't. Because, and a very good argument actually was made by Alpha Omega Sin that I agreed with, but he put it in good words, that this whole mess, this whole thing about Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn campaigning for internet censorship so that women are protected on the internet from negative abuse, a lot of people probably don't care, probably don't give a monkeys. They just say, well, whatever, it doesn't affect me. And, you know, that's where I think he said, yeah, well, they, Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn, they shouldn't care about it either. If somebody receives verbal threats or internet threats or what have you, it's up to you to decide how you react to it. You can ignore it, you can be offended by it, you can be upset by it, you can feel victimized by it, a combination of those four, or any other negative feeling of threat or sadness or what have you. You could go into depression, you can make yourself feel insecure about yourself, you can, whatever negative implication that you want to feel about it or want to receive from it, you can choose to have it. And it all comes down to values as well. As human beings, we are very complex creatures. We have our own values. We have some that we can occasionally sort of change or be flexible with, but we also have core values, you know, things we do believe in, things that we do we do believe in to make sense of our realities. And it's those values that get attacked by any form of abuse or threat. If you have an opinion on something, or you express yourself on something, or express yourself in general, or create something or do something that will contribute or affect people around you, then you are openly affecting their values. Some people are going to feel positive towards it and go, hey, my values are similar, hey, that's cool, yo, we should hang out more, we should do stuff together. Some people will be like, well, I'm not bothered by your values, but I'm also not insulted by them, but fair enough, if you want to get on with that, you carry on, that's fine, it's not bothering me, but I like the fact that you're doing that. Some people would be like, well, I don't care either, but I really wish you wouldn't keep on about it, you know, I want you to be a bit sort of, just keep it to yourself. And then there are others who go, no, you've infringed on my values, you have attacked my very core of existence, please go away. And then you react however, and that's fine. All four of those options or more are absolutely acceptable, and I believe they are to be acceptable. This is what I mean by a free world. You should have the right to choose how you react to whatever's thrown at you. If you want to censor things from yourself, from others, you go ahead and do that. If you want to ignore everything that's thrown at you that's negative, you go ahead and do that. If you want to feel sad, threatened, depressed, insecure, scared, nervous, anything like that from any form of abuse on the internet received, if you want to feel that way, you go ahead and feel that way. And sometimes it's instinctive to feel that way. Again, it's the self-defense mechanism. You know, I've had abuse and I feel offended and upset by things, and it happens. I'm not immune to it either. It happens to me. But what I'm trying to get at here is that with these two ladies campaigning for this sort of internet surveillance, basically, I disagree, and I agree with Alpha Omega Sin and Richard Review Tech USA and the many others who claim that this is actually a formal push for internet censorship in the developed world. Yes, I don't like people getting abused on the internet. I don't like people who get who get assaulted on the internet via cyberbullying or what have you. No, I don't like it, and I don't condone it either. But I also don't stop people from doing it, because I believe they have the right to express themselves. What I will do, however, is somebody comes to me and says, I'm affected by this, I need you to help me, or if I'm in a position where it's my job to do that, it's my job to help people who are being bullied by people on the internet, or getting abuse sent to them via the internet, and say, look, I need you to help me with this isn't right, then I'll do it. I will help them. But I wouldn't then go, right, we need to censor everything, we need to blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't blanket punish, because that's not how you deal with the problem. Cyberbullying is always going to be there, but the best way to solve it is to just tackle the individuals who are doing it. Now, how do you do that? Well, you've got to be an individual yourself. You've got to be affected by said individuals, and you've got to then tackle it in that way. If you're being individually assaulted, then you've got to go and solve it individually. If you need support and help, go and get it, and people will come to your aid and help you. Or if you want to do it by yourself, go ahead and do it by yourself. I wouldn't recommend that because it's very difficult, but if you want to, go ahead. But what I'm saying is that cyberbullying, to solve it, to tackle it, is you have to solve it individually. You have to take each case individually and solve it individually. Now, some cases are easier to solve than others. I admit that. Some maybe can't be solved at all, unless there's some sort of extreme intervention. Fair enough, I understand that. But that's up to the individual to decide. But what people shouldn't be doing is what Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn are doing, which is, yes, by all means, make people aware that this is going on. Yes, good idea. But don't then actively campaign for, we need telephone companies and we need internet companies to censor this, to censor the internet, effectively, to stop this. No, that's blanket punishment. That is blanket censorship. And I believe that's wrong. I think if that does go ahead, although you may feel the people who are in support of this, and if you are, fine, I'm not going to turn around and say you shouldn't be, and I respect that you are. But I do believe that if you do that, then you will create bigger problems than what we've currently got now. And I would advise to those of you who are being bullied on the internet or assaulted on the internet, you need to get help. Not because you're weak, not because you're pathetic, not because you're rubbish, not because you can't do it alone, but because you need help. You need to get support. You need to get to the root of the problem, and you need to solve it. So you need to get help to solve the problem. But it's up to you. If you want to agree with Anita Sarkeesian, Zoe Quinn, and go blanketing about promoting internet censorship in this way, or promote that telephone companies and all that should be surveillancing it and doing all this stuff, go ahead. But I won't agree with you on that, because I believe the consequences of that are far bigger and far more damaging than what we've currently got at the moment. I really do believe that. And if you don't believe me, then go right ahead and campaign for it and try and get it in place. And I will quite happily turn around and say, told you so. But I could be wrong at the same time. It could be that maybe mass censorship is a good thing. I don't know. I'm not going to let it happen because I don't believe it to be a good thing. But I'm only one individual. I can only do so much. I have other duties. I have other things to do. I have now got some work to do. Actual work to earn money. I've got my YouTube channel. I've got my family. I've got my friends. I've got a lot on my plate already. But I can make people aware of it because I want to. That's the best I can do. So if you're out there who are affected by this, in terms of this call by Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn for possible internet censorship, then I would urge you to not support them, and I would urge you to protest against them and say, yes, I do agree that a lot of women out on the internet are being abused, but so are a lot of males, so are a lot of other beings, transgenders, what have you. religious people, that kind of thing. I shouldn't even be segmenting people like that, but I'm sorry, that's me as an individual. It's been pretty weak there. And again, if you want to hurl abuse at me on that, go right ahead. But I agree that it is a problem. And I agree that we need to make more of an effort to solve it. But not blanket punishment, not blanket censorship. No. We don't want that. I don't want that. And I certainly don't want open surveillance. We've already got enough surveillance going on as it is behind closed doors. Because people don't care, people don't give a poop or whatever, fine. But if you catch them doing it, you can take them to court. At least in the developed world, at least in the UK and in America, to some extent. There are some countries out there in the world, though, that have claimed the internet and control it. North Korea is probably the most prominent example, not the main one, but the most prominent. China. But you could argue so is the UK to some extent, so is the USA. We're just probably a little bit more suave about it, if you know what I mean. We tend to censor things that we agree as a society that needs to be censored. But that's still censorship, and I don't like it. Or at least restricted or limited. And again, I'm not open to that. I do believe as human beings, we are very complex creatures. We have very different wants and needs from our fellow man and woman. And we need to be able to express ourselves. And that will mean making some people like you, some people praise you, but also some people hate you or dislike you, disagree with you, whatever. It's going to happen. But you should know that. We're humans. That's what we do. Not because we have to do it, but because we need to do it. So there you go. Anyway, that's my ramblings on this whole situation. It's not very clear and concise. I know I was a little bit distracted by my family coming home, but that's okay. But what do you think? Do you think that what Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn have done at the UN to campaign for the cyberbullying against women should be stopped, and essentially internet companies and telephone companies who control the internet, or I say control it, supply it, I suppose they control it to some extent, supply it, and services like Facebook, Twitter, Google, Yahoo, that kind of thing. Do you think they should be open? They should be openly allowed to surveillance everything that you do. And if you say one bad thing against one person, which could be open to interpretation, at the end of the day, you could say a load of negative things on the internet and nobody takes offense by it, and therefore it wouldn't be censored, because nobody's taking offense. But if you say one thing that you may believe, actually, no, I've got every right to say that, it's constructive criticism, or no, it is just a damn right insult, I hate you, I don't like you, I want you to go and die in a ditch or something, because you truly feel that way, you truly are that passionate about whatever's being attacked on you, and you truly want to say that, do you think that you shouldn't be able to do that? You shouldn't be allowed to do that. You should not be allowed to express your disagreement with someone or something or some group in whatever matter or form that you have to express yourself by. If you have to express yourself by open threats or trolling or what have you, if that's what you have to do or what you need to do because that's how you do it, do you think that should be taken away from you? If you don't, but you do express disagreements and you sort of say, I don't agree with your opinion, I think you need to open your minds, I think your ideas on this are probably too narrow-minded, and I think you need to go and do some more search. And you may think to yourself, I think that's a constructive criticism, and back it up with evidence if you must, back it up with maybe some information they didn't have. If they took that as an insult and say, oh, you're attacking my integrity, are you? And therefore offended, do you think that should be deleted as well? Do you think, oh, well, you can't say that, that's been deleted because they got offended by it? What do you think? Let me know in the comment sections, and as always, thank you very much for listening to this if you have done. Please take it easy, have a good one, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.